Good morning, everybody. Glad you're here. And if you want to follow along this morning, again, we'll be back in the book of Proverbs in the second chapter, Proverbs chapter 2, beginning in verse 9, as we continue to look at the benefits of wisdom, of obtaining wisdom. Verse 9 says, "Then shalt thou understand righteousness and judgment and equity, yea, every good path. When wisdom entereth into thy heart, and knowledge is pleasant unto thy soul. Discretion shall preserve thee, understanding shall keep thee." And so the benefit here that he's describing is knowledge, is understanding. John Phillips calls it light in the darkness, being able to understand and consider a matter, to be able to sort through the options. He says we will understand righteousness and judgment, and equity. Righteous, judgment, and equity. And those are three very important pieces. They're basically what makes up our conscience. Again, righteousness, judgment, equity, or fairness would be another way of stating equity, being equal, being fair. And he says they are every good path. And the word path is really curious. Our moral judgment, our moral sensitivity is in every good path. And the word path, if you've ever maybe seen on an old cowboy movie where the wagons run constantly in that rut that is done, and the wagons get in that, they get their wheels in that in those ruts and follow the trail. And that's what wisdom does for a person. It gives them a guide. When wisdom enters the heart, he says, when wisdom and knowledge enter the heart, and we've talked about it, it's a gift of God. It is a choice the person makes to have that wisdom. And so wisdom is not just a matter of that idea of a path. Tells us it's not just something that we have in our head, but it's something that we actually follow. It's sad, and probably all of us have seen this before, people who knew better, people who had wisdom, and just didn't follow the path that wisdom, didn't obey the wisdom that was in their own mind. And that wisdom, he says it preserves us, it protects us. And these again are the same words here that we see in verse 8 when he says he keepeth and preserveth. We see that again in verse 11, just reversed: preserve and keep. And as we again consider that great benefit that comes from wisdom, the real, I think, real crux of the argument again is not just that wisdom is that we understand righteousness and judgment and equity, that we have that knowledge, but then we actually follow the path. And when we do, he says, then it preserves us and keeps us. And as we consider the lesson of these verses, it to me is again, someone else may read these verses. You may read these verses and come up with a completely different thought or completely different idea, and that's fine. But for me, again, what I see and the prayer that I'm motivated from these verses is, Lord, don't let me just understand righteousness and judgment and fairness, but then let me follow that path. Again, we live in a world where I think most people know better, but unfortunately, they choose to follow a different path. We've seen young people who have been raised with better understanding. I was trying to think of a way to say that. They've been raised better, but they choose to follow a different path. And for me, as I consider these verses today, it really motivates me and drives me towards two thoughts and two prayers. One is personally, Lord, help me to follow the path of the wisdom that you have given me. The knowledge, the justice you put in my hands in your Bible and your Word. Help me to follow that path. But then I want to take a moment today and pray for our young people. They're criticized so often that they would follow the path. Many of them, again, even raised in church, who have been shown the path, but they, for whatever reason, are choosing to make bad choices. And so that's my challenge for us today. I hope we'll consider the path that wisdom wants us to travel. And we ask ourselves the question, am I following the path of wisdom? Have a good day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow morning.